It's December the 17th, and as we continue in our Advent series here at Grace Chapel, I want to take you today to what has been called one of the saddest verses in the whole Bible, and it's actually related to Christmas. It's John chapter 1, verse 11. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Well, those words, he came, obviously that's the incarnation. John 1:14, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And so Jesus came to the earth as God, very God, and entered the womb of a woman, and he came to his own. Literally, that can be his own home, his own planet, his own people, but they did not want him. It's as if he came and they said, "You're not desired here, you're not wanted here, no trespassing, return to sender." Doesn't that seem strange? I mean, after all, we look forward to Christmas morning because we want to open gifts. We anticipate it. We're eager. I even asked my wife this week if I could get a Christmas present early, and she indeed allowed me to do that. So why did they reject this great gift of Jesus? In large part because they saw what he was offering as superfluous, something they did not need. We would get Kristen's grandpa every year a USC, sort of jacket or hat or shirt, some kind of USC gear. Finally, one year he said, I think I have enough of USC gear, very graciously. My son-in-law, Jake, is an alfalfa farmer. It would be like me getting him a bale of hay for Christmas. He would say, yeah, not needed. And that's how they felt about the gift of righteousness that Jesus was coming to offer. They're like, we have all the righteousness we need on our own. They were self-righteous. Do you remember that parable of the tax collector and the Pharisee, and how the Pharisee was praying to himself about himself and saying things like, God, I thank you that I'm not like other men. I'm not a thief. I'm not an adulterer. I'm not like that tax collector. He had a relative righteousness. He thought he was holy compared to other people, but not compared to God. Now, the tax collector just simply says, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Well, the Bible tells us that Jesus told that parable to people who trusted in themselves that they were righteous, and they treated others with contempt. You see, Galatians 2:21 reminds us that we need the grace of God, that we're not righteous in and of ourselves. It says this, I do not set aside the grace of God, for if righteousness could be gained through the law, Christ died for nothing. Well, if righteousness can be gained through the law, not only did Christ die for nothing, but he was actually born for nothing as well. You see, righteousness is not superfluous. It is essential, and it's supernaturally supplied. If we see our sin correctly, we will savor our Savior rightly. In John chapter 1, verse 12, right after verse 11, it says this, but to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. That is a wonderful word in that verse, the word but. Somebody has said this, great truths sometimes swing on small hinges. Everything changes when we see our need and when we believe and received the gift of righteousness so that we can become children of God. This morning, Rob Dietzel sent me a little passage of his devotion, but the devotion was titled, Thoughts from the Diary of a Desperate Man. And I thought, what a great title for a devotional. I'm a desperate man in desperate need of the gift of righteousness and salvation. John Piper writes this, when you become a Christian, a disciple of Jesus, you do not become his helper, he becomes your helper. See, at Christmas time, what we have to remember is we desperately need his help. We are desperate people in need of forgiveness, in need of his righteousness. And so as we consider the great gift of Jesus, may we see our need and Savior, our Savior. He came so that we could have life, so that we could become righteous in the eyes of God, and so that we could one day enter into his presence. And so I say, and I pray that you say it with me, Jesus, you are welcome here. Merry Christmas to you.